Hello, this is Ron McCullough, consultant podiatric surgeon. This is just a quick video to allow people who want to assess their shoes to have some idea about what to look for if they need a stability shoe. So fundamentally, when shoes are designed for stability, there are a few structural things that are done to the shoe to make it stable. Okay, I'm just going to go through those. So this is the New Balance 860. It is a good stability shoe. There are more stable shoes out there, but obviously the more stable the shoe, the less responsive. So it's all about which shoe is right for you. But what makes this a stability shoe? Okay, well, the first thing is that the heel cup generally tends to be fairly stiff, and in some cases the heel cup on the inside, on the medial side, can actually extend further. But that just depends. But that's one of the things to look for. So if you want to see how stable a shoe is, feel the heel cup and just see whether it has good structural integrity. Okay. Now the second thing that's really important is to look at the medial and lateral heel density. So when you look at a shoe, an antipronation shoe in many instances will have higher density on the inside, what we call the medial side. In other words, this part is firmer than this part. And that makes a lot of sense, because if your foot is collapsing in, you want the medial inside to be firmer to resist that. So most stability shoes offer some type of increased density or increased firmness in this part of the shoe. Okay, and in a moment I'm going to show you how to assess for that. Some shoes don't do that. Brooks Adrenaline and a few others tend to use guide rails to actually help the foot to move forward, which basically means they have extensions on the inside and the outside to kind of keep the foot stable, but they don't necessarily have this increased density, but most do. So the third thing you need to look at, and this really links into it, is the torsional resistance of the shoe. So I showed this in another video, but this is the 860, which is quite a responsive shoe. So it does twist quite a bit. It has quite a lot of torsional give, okay? That makes the shoe more responsive, but for some people that's not going to mean it's stable enough. For others it will be absolutely fine. It just depends. But these are the things you need to look out for. Stiffness of the heel cup, torsional resistance of the shoe, and finally the density. So if I show you, if you look at the medial side here, you can see it does compress. So I can press this in and it has quite a bit of give, but it is somewhat denser on the inside than the outside. Okay, so that's really what makes a stability shoe. So rather than necessarily reading all of the promotions in the literature and from foot manufacturers and shoe manufacturers rather, who are obviously, it can all be a little bit biased towards what they are believing to be the features of the shoe that makes you want to choose their shoe. It's a really good idea to just be able to assess a shoe like this. So I'm now going to show you another stability shoe. This is the A6 Cayo. These are both the latest models. Now, and actually I need to show you one more thing about the New Balance. If you look at the flexion point, you can see it's quite easy to bend and it bends quite far back. Now, if we take the A6 Cayo, it bends far more forward and the flexion point is much stiffer, okay? Again, it has a stiff heel cup. I would argue this is stiffer than the New Balance, in my view. It has really quite a dense medial thickening here because the materials are denser, and if you try and push that in, you really can't do it very much at all. Okay, and finally, the torsional resistance on this shoe is much more than the New Balance 860. So this is how you assess a shoe. And if you go to a shoe shop and you think, my last shoe, and this leads on to another video I've done where we assess the shoes to look how well they're surviving when you're a runner. If you look at your shoe and you think your old shoe is wearing too quickly and it's getting what we call torsional distortion, you can then look at shoes and assess them physically to make a decision about which shoe is better for you. And that's much better than just reading information, because it can become very bewildering. And if you take ownership and you spend a bit of time knowing how to assess a shoe, it'll give you a lot of tools to be able to make a determination as to what shoe is best for you. So I hope this video is useful. We'll do some more videos, maybe focusing on neutral shoes as well, which fundamentally do not have a lot of these features. So they don't have the increased medial density, they don't have as much torsional resistance. But of course, with neutral shoes, some are more stable than others, and a deeper dive on that will occur sometime in the future.